time. This box, there's something about it that's bothering me.
That's the box that the sacred urn was in. It looks like there's some pink paint on it, too. And it's definitely the same color as the stuff on the urn.
I think I know how the paint got on it now.
Alright, let's investigate again, Nick.
Looks to me like it's been dry for several days.
There's something suspicious about this paintwork. The bottom left part of it is shaped oddly, and it's shocking pink. Mr. Nick, could it be that this odd shape is...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is it.
Ah, that's the box the sacred urn was in.
If you look here, there's a little bit of paint on the box as well.
Wow, you're right! Look, it matches! That snake pops out from the box. It's a really tiny box for him to fit in. What is it, Mr. Nick?
This is all turning out exactly as I thought it would. I think it's all starting to become clear. We're that much closer to solving the mystery of what happened to the urn.
Let's get back to Miss Andrews here, shall we?
Take that!
Oh, welcome back, Zach.
Miss Andrews, do you know anything about the sacred urn?
Do I know anything? I'm in charge of the entire treasure exhibit.
The urn that was submitted before the court today. It's obviously not the same urn as before.
Well, that's true. Maybe it isn't the same. It could be a fake.
A fake?
You're the one who said it wasn't the same, so that's the most obvious explanation. Do you have any evidence the urn that was submitted at the trial was genuine?
Take that!
Sorry to break it to you, but the urn is the genuine article. Pearls went back to Corain Village and had it examined.
Is that right? That's nice, but I don't see how...
What she discovered was that the vase was broken. Again.
Did you say again?
Yes, it was broken once a year ago. And now it looks like the same thing has happened. And quite recently, too.
Recently? Are you saying that this urn was broken recently?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
And why do you think it was broken recently? How do you know?
I just did the wrong thing. Ah, oh, shit. No, shut up. Shut up, Andrews. Shut up. Shut up. I got ahead of myself. I'll get you. I'll get you. Nope, that's not it. This poster, it was made recently, right?
Poster? Ah, the poster for the exhibit.
At the time when this photo was taken, the urn said, "I am" on it. But now, for some mysterious reason, it says, "Ami." When the urn was fixed, the letters were transposed.
Ah! I am? What does that even mean? I don't know anything about that. I wasn't even there when the photo for this poster was taken.
That was a mistake. Now, tell the truth.
Wait!
4?
Even if the urn was broken, I had nothing to do with it.
Huh?
Yes, that's it. It must have been one of the people at the photo shoot. They probably dropped it. I'm sure that's what happened.
Looks like I still haven't broken the entire psyche lock.
Do you have any proof the urn was broken here at Lordly Taylor? I can't be too loud, so I can't really do all the yells and stuff.
Well, Miss Andrews?
What is this supposed to mean?
There's pink paint all over this urn. And there's pink paint all over the floor and walls of this basement warehouse. In other words, this urn was broken there.
Aw, see you later, Jonah. Hopefully your shift goes by fast.
You can't weasel out of this one, Miss Andrews.
But...
Uh-oh. She's trying to make her escape.
But you can get pink paint anywhere.
Well, there's none in my office, that's for sure.
Well, there is in my room.
Liar.
Anyway, the paint on the urn and the paint on the floor, there's no proof that it's the same paint.
Come on, this is getting ridiculous. The proof linking the paint on the urn to the paint on the floor is...
Take that!
this box. The urn was stored in this, right?
Yes, that's right.
Well, there's pink paint on this box as well.
Ah,
I think you already know where I'm going with this, don't you?
yes, more or less.
The paint on the floor had an odd shape imprinted in it, doesn't it? Sorry, has.
Yes,
If you put this box onto the impression in the paint, you can see it fits perfectly. Which means this box was dropped right there. And that is when the urn was broken.
your name does you justice, Mr. Wright. Yay! I'm so sorry. I was the one who broke the urn.
Boy, does this make me feel like some sort of evil school teacher.
Thanks, Zach. I'm a terrible person. Not only did I break it, but I tried to hide what I did. Well, that's not so hard to understand, is it, Pearlie?
No, not at all. I know just how she feels.
It happened about 2 weeks ago, just after the poster photo was taken on the same day the urn arrived here. I thought I'd put it away down here for safekeeping. I was carrying it in the box. Of course. When I tripped on a paint can and lost my balance. The box I was carrying crashed to the ground. I heard a terrible noise and I thought my heart was going to stop. Fearing the worst, I opened the lid of the box and that's when it happened. The broken pieces of the urn fell out of the box and landed right in the paint. I was in shock and let out a huge scream. I can totally see how that could have happened.
Yeah, as clumsy as she is, I'm sure Maya understands.
Well, I knew it was the most important treasure in all of Crane Village, so I tried as hard as I could to fix it. Fortunately, the shards were pretty big. And that's when the I am got changed to Ami? I didn't know how it was originally written, but any sane person fixing would have assumed it said Ami.
Oh,
Any sane person? Really?
oh, Pearls. She said she wasn't very good at spelling.
Anyway, oops.
Anyway,
I put the urn into the storeroom and no one had seen it since. But there's something I don't get. When we first came here, I didn't see any paint stains. Well, that's because it was so ugly and embarrassing. I used the golden statue to cover it.
The Ami Faye statue. Aha! The first time that we came down here, it was on the night that the sacred urn was stolen.
but Mr. Nick... There were no paint marks on the walls or floor of the warehouse when we were here.
Well, there's a good reason for that. On the day of the crime, around noon, that golden statue just happened to arrive from the mountain training hall. And I realized that the statue would be the perfect size for covering up the paint stains. That's why I put it where you first saw it. I see. Now it makes perfect sense.
But there's still one thing I find strange.
What is it, Pearl?
The day after the urn was stolen, we came here again. At that time, the statue had been moved and the paint was clearly visible.
She's right about that. Well, Miss Andrews?
Huh? What? I don't know anything about that. I placed it there to cover the paint, so why would I move it again? Well, then who was it? Who would have done it and why?
On the day before the theft, the statue was definitely closer to the door.
Okay,
Then the next day it was moved, but why? It looks like there's some connection between the sacred urn and the murder case.
Why? Why do you think so, Mr. Nick? I mean, Nick? God damn it, not Mr. Nick. This isn't Pearls.
Because that night, the real thief, Ron Delight, was at KB Security. So then why did another mask-to-mask show up here? A lot of different things are pointing to one undeniable fact.
One undeniable fact?
The murder trial is starting tomorrow. It looks like that thief is going to be making another appearance.
Hey, Nick!
What is it this time?
You won't believe how many people are here for the trial.
Well, it is a murder case.
What are you talking about? They're here for the trial next door.
Next door.
Why don't you know this, Nick? They're having Detective Abby's trial today.
Detective Abby?
They say they're going to try him as mask to mask.
Already? That was fast.
Boy, I'd love to see mask to mask's trial.
I know. By the way, where's Pearls?
Oh, she went back home. She said she can't neglect her training anymore.
I know you don't like me. Pearls has really gotten into her training lately, huh?
Yeah, ever since that incident last year.
Please don't ignore me!
Oh, Mr. Delay! Good morning.
No one likes me. No one would notice me even if I killed someone.
Come on, don't be silly. Wait a sec.
You don't mean you're the murderer? No, I'm just a poor thief. No, wait, that's not right. A thief can't. Now let's see. According to Mr. Delight, from his second crime on, he was following a bunch of set plans. Plans that someone had been sending to him to help him commit the heists.
Do you think there's a connection between the thief and the murder, Nick?
It's possible, but today's trial is a race against the clock.
Huh? How come? Let's just take our time like always.
I'm afraid that's not an option. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Ron Delight. The defense is ready, Your Honor. You're ready? Preparation is the last refuge of the weak. Okay, settle down, everyone. Let's begin with your opening statement, Mr. Godot. He's got the judge in the palm of his hands yet again. Ron Delight is simply too young to be sent to war. That's all. I'm afraid I have no idea what that means, Mr. Godot. Then you need to get out more. Your Honor. Life is war, but that is exactly why you must be more precise in your wording. That's all my statement means. You understand now, right? Yes, well then, let me briefly summarize the details of this case. Wow, the judge is taking charge like he knows what's going on for a change. The victim is Kane Bullard, CEO of KB Security. His body was found in a safe at approximately 9 a.m. on the morning of the 13th.
Seriously, Mock?
However, the time of death was estimated as 1 a.m. of the previous day. And that's when our little lost kitten dropped the ball. That little lost kitten is, of course, the defendant. Very well then, Mr. Godot, please call your first witness. I never drink more than 17 cups of coffee during any given trial, but the first one is always the best. Mr. Godot, your witness? Okay then. Let's hear what the defendant, Mr. Ron Delight, has to say for himself. The defendant? Well, Mr. Wright, does the defense have any objections? It may be a bit of a disadvantage having the defendant testify, but... I remember when Mia was defending me. She allowed me to testify so she could do the cross-examination. She put a lot of trust in me back then. We have no objections, Your Honor. The defense will allow Mr. Delight to testify. Ha! You've got guts, trite. Alright then, Mr. Ron Delight, please take the stand. You did it, didn't you? Yes. What? No! That's not true! For a moment there, I thought we'd set the record for the shortest trial ever.
Well, Mr. Delight already looks plenty guilty with that face he's making.
And once he opens his big mouth, he'll probably put the last nail in his own coffin. Ha! Very well. Now then, can you tell me something? If you didn't kill Bullard, why did you go to KB Security? Well, that's kind of hard to say. Boy, I wish I could go. Now then, let's hear some testimony about what happened. That evening, around 1 a.m., I went to see Mr. Bullard in his office at KB Security. The blackmail letter I got, it ordered me to go there. I'd been working for KB Security until a year ago, so I knew where his office was. 1 a.m., the exact time the murder took place. The weak get washed away by the tides of fate. The strong drink it up. Ha! It's bitter today, too. Just like my destiny.
You'd never know that from the way he's chugging it down.
Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you please. It ordered you there? It wasn't the first time I'd gotten a blackmail letter that ordered me to go somewhere. Does that mean you've gotten other blackmail letters then? Oh, of course. They'd say things like, steal this, or take that. Take that. Why don't you save those for later, Mr. Light? Please don't say any more. So what did the blackmail letter in question say? It said to bring $50,000. Money, eh? A perfect motive for committing murder. Oh, but wait! I never intended to pay that money anyway! Oh? Is that right? After all, he had nothing to hold over my head. I had nothing to be afraid of. An important point indeed. Witness, let's have that added to your testimony. Yes, sir. Ha! Muddy mudskipper in outer space has a better chance of surviving than I do. A muddy mudskipper, though. You used to be a security chief for KB Security, right? Yes, that's right. A security chief? You? And yet, a year ago, you were fired without notice. Revenge for an old grudge? A perfect motive for murder, wouldn't you say? This isn't good. Maybe I should change the subject? Mr. Delight, please tell us why you were fired from your job. Well... The world is filled with those who have said, I wish I had never asked that. Okay, then I take it back. Defendant, please answer the question. Well, I needed money. You needed money? Well, you see, Desi loves to spend it. It's kind of her hobby.
What? You are bladder. I didn't even notice that. Welcome back, Ab. Not exactly the best hobby in the world, huh, Nick?
My salary wasn't nearly enough, so I stole data from the company. Come again? KB Security has a lot of secret security info on all sorts of companies, and since I was a security team chief, you stole some data and sold it. Mr. Bullard found out, and I was fired immediately. What? I wish I had never asked that. I was somehow able to keep it secret and made it seem like I had quit on my own.
What is it, Nick? You don't look so good.
Someone who brings harm to their company is fired as punishment.
Aw, it's okay, Ab.
Hi, Neil. How you do, Neil?
Wait, Zach, what?
You do well to remember that.
He sure told you.
So you admit that you stole data from your company, is that correct? Yes, I'm sorry. This is a very important fact. Please add it to your testimony. Oh man, this whole thing just took a big turn for the worse, crashed and blew up. It's gonna take the jaws of life to rip this case from the clutches of disaster.
Objection!
Had your midterm, how did it go?
Turtle, what?
What? I'm so confused.
Mr. Delight, what you said just now doesn't match what you told me yesterday. Huh? What doesn't? I think you must have been scared, very scared, of having a certain person find out your secret. A certain person?
75? Whoa! That's good, right? That's like, okay. I think. Sounds okay to me.
Miss Desiree Delight, the defendant's wife. Oh, but Listen to me! My Desi, she's... Looks like if I just sit back and relax, the fun will end before it truly begins. Godot! Yes, we know. It was all your wife's fault. What do you mean? Mr. Delight stole company data to pay for his wife's spending habit for which he was fired.
The placements are getting to tour purple. Uh-huh. Look who's talking. Oh, you finished a math quiz too? And how did you do?
Unable to face his own wife, someone used his dirty little secret to blackmail him. And that is how this murder came about. Oh, No! Everything's falling neatly into place for him. Don't talk about my Desi like that! Or you'll be sorry!
Got a 73. Close. close to Neo's.
Well, it seems that we've learned a great deal of things here so far.
What do you think, Nick?
I didn't think it was possible to get so thoroughly whipped in just 20 minutes. Clearly there was sufficient motive for murder. He stole data for his wife, and he killed to protect his secret. A family man who cared just a little too much. The motive is clear. Let's move on. What happened at that crime scene at 1 in the morning, Mr. Delight? Come now, tell us. We're all ears. When I entered the office, there was a suspicious shadow there. No idea whose shadow that is. Suddenly, I was hit on the forehead. After that, I remember being a bit dazed. If I hadn't been wearing that, I would have been killed. When I came to, Mr. Bullard was lying there, dead. Bon karma.
You guys.
I see. Suddenly hit on the forehead, huh? I believe the detective from yesterday provided similar testimony. He said that Master Mask struck him on the head from behind. Of course, since Atme turned out to be the culprit himself, that was all a lie. Ha! No one's going to believe a pathetic lie like that. What are you saying? I really was attacked! We'll find out if what you say is true or not during the cross-examination. Got that, Mr. Trite? Don't go easy just because he's your client. If I see any sign that you are, I'll treat you to another cup of my special blend. You don't need to worry about that, Mr. Godot. I have faith in Ron. I know he didn't do it. That? Could you please clarify what you're referring to? Why, my Mask to Mask costume, of course. Wait just a moment. Mask to Mask? Huh? Oh, did I forget to mention it before? Just to be on the safe side, I dressed as Mask to Mask. And then I descended upon the office of the CEO of KB Security. What?
Nick, did you know about this? He never told me this.
I don't recall him ever mentioning it to me, either. Even I didn't know that. It seems our little friend really loved to keep secrets. Loves to keep secrets. I'm sorry, I just never had a chance to mention it up until now. Wait, that's not right. You know how sometimes things just slip your mind? Ha! My 6th cup of coffee is staring up at me coldly. At any rate, we can't ignore this new piece of information. Witness, please correct your testimony. Why were you dressed up as Mask to Mask? Why? Because I'm Mask to Mask, of course. What are you talking about? Mask to Mask's trial is being held next door. Ah, yes, I guess so. Anyway, at that time, I thought I was being blackmailed over the Mask to Mask issue. So I thought I should go as him, just to be safe. Oh boy. Let me tell you, it's a real pain to move around with that cape.
Aww. I feel sorry for Ab.
Ab, are you okay? Do you need a hug?
That's why it took a lot longer than I expected. Took a lot longer? What's he talking about? What do you mean by took a lot longer? Oh, opening the safe, of course. My cape got caught on the safe door, you see. this all happened when I was hiding Mr. Bullard's body. I love the no! Like, you guys are so dramatic.
Hugs for Ab.
Ouch, cracked my finger. What was that? Back up a second. Yes? You were the one that hid the body in the safe? Well, yeah. Inconceivable! Here we go. I really shouldn't have said that. Why? Just why? What reason could you have? What were you thinking? Question. When does someone toss their dirty shorts in the washing machine? What? The answer is simple. When they take them off. As usual, I have no idea what you're saying. Do you mean that Mr. Delight hid the body because he's the murderer? Ha! So you're not as stupid as you look.
His metaphor this time was really obscure.
Mr. Wright, you don't mean that you knew about this whole safe business, do you?
That's okay. Nice coincidence, though, huh?
Well, yes. Why am I the only one not in the loop here?
No, Bon Karma was Ab's mistake, not Zach's. Zach just copied him afterward.
No! Witness!
Witness! My voice! Witness!
Make sure you add this to the testimony. Yes, sir! Uh-oh, looks like a storm front is moving in over the fair weather judge.
Sleep on the sheep. Remember this? Sleep on the sheep. Oh god.
Objection!
Your Honor, could you please take a look at this record? And what might this be? The record for the emergency buzzer that connects the CEO's office to security. If the button in the office is pressed, a security team is supposed to come running.
Squeaky judge.
And according to this record, the buzzer was pushed once at 1:02 a.m. What? If Mr. Ron Delight truly was the murderer, he would have ran as soon as that buzzer sounded. After all, a security guard would have been heading his way.
Objection!
Huh. Let's remember who we're dealing with here. He probably had no idea there were security personnel in the building.
He used to work there.
He used to work there. Up until 1 year ago, my client was working as a chief of security. There's no way he wouldn't have known about them.
Objection!
But as it turns out, the guard never came. That was nothing more than a coincidence. The fact that the guard was a pathetic loser, who had just gotten punched in the face by his ex's new boyfriend, and wasn't anywhere in the vicinity, was not something Mr. Delight could have known.
Objection!
Huh. Again, remember who we're dealing with here. It's a sure bet that Mr. Delight didn't even notice the buzzer going off.
Objection!
This buzzer is extremely loud. There's no way he could have ignored something like that. If he had been conscious, that is. Conscious? What do you mean by that? Ugh.
Gotcha, Godot.
Fine. Let's hear your theory. Remember the defendant's testimony. The moment he entered the victim's office, someone attacked him. Mr. Delight said he had felt dazed. I'm willing to wager that he was knocked unconscious for at least a few minutes. Unconscious? So he fainted? That's why Mr. Delight didn't know that the buzzer had sounded. And that's why he thought he had time to hide the body. So what are you trying to say? Mr. Delight was knocked out, and the buzzer went off soon afterwards. Now, unless my client was able to hit the buzzer while he was unconscious, it can only mean that there was another person in that room. That's right. Whoever it was knocked out Ron Delight and then pressed the buzzer. Order in the court. Mr. Wright, this is...
Objection!
This is preposterous. It was this kid. Ron Delight is the one who killed Kane Bullard.
Objection!
Then who pressed the buzzer? It was... the victim, of course. He pressed the buzzer when the defendant attacked him. He didn't die right away. He must have held on long enough to push that button.
Ah! No, Phoenix, there were no fingerprints. Remember, there were no fingerprints.
So Kane Bullard sounded the buzzer himself. What is your opinion on this, Mr. Wright? I need to prove that the real criminal was there at the scene, but how? Can I prove that it wasn't Kane Bullard who sounded the buzzer?
Yeah, because he didn't have gloves on.
The defense's opinion is this, Your Honor, Derp. This piece of evidence proves that it wasn't the victim who sounded the buzzer.
Take that!
I believe this is the piece of incontrovertible evidence you were looking for. The emergency buzzer? Is there some kind of clue on it? Absolutely not. Hey, come on now. At least give some thought to what you say before opening your mouth. The fact that there are absolutely no clues is itself the clue. Now I'm the one who's clueless. This button has no fingerprints on it. If Mr. Bullard had really pressed it himself, naturally he would have left his fingerprints behind.
Is your spitting out coffee sound effect?
Ron Delight obviously wiped them off.
Objection!
I wonder how many cups he's at now. He said 6 the last time. 7, 8. I don't know. I lost track.
Why would he? A guard could have come in at any moment. He touched that button, I know he did.
Objection!
The defendant, Mr. Delight, was dressed as Mask to Mask. And Mask to Mask always wears gloves. What reason could he possibly had to wipe the finger... Sorry, to wipe the finger. Don't wipe the finger. To wipe the button free of fingerprints. Order! 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 It would seem. I've been forced to eat crow. What?
I wonder what blend number crow-flavored coffee is.
However, if the real killer was there at the scene...
Well, the most recent one on 3DS, they had voices. To a certain extent. Not every character, but in cutscenes. Phoenix and them had voices.
Why would that person press the emergency buzzer?
He touched the butt. Exactly.
Shouldn't they have run away without putting themselves in extra danger? What's with this awkward silence all of a sudden? Huh. Looks like you're fresh out of parlor tricks.
Actually, no, this makes sense. The person who hit Ron Delight on the head and knocked him out is clearly trying to frame him for the murder of Bullard. Therefore, they press the button to set him up. Like, why are they all so... Come on! Really? You think Dual Destinies is the best one in the series? I've heard differently. They're on to you, Nick.
Just give me a minute to collect my thoughts. The real culprit killed Mr. Bullard at around 1 a.m.
Hi, Heck. And Mr. Delight just happened to waltz in when the murder was taking place, right? Channeling my inner kitty kitty.
The killer clobbered Mr. Delight and then sounded the buzzer.
Even though security was supposed to respond right away if the buzzer was pressed.
Security was supposed to respond. Huh. Time's up, Mr. Wright. Let's hear what you have to say. Yeah, sure. Shamalama Ding Dong Toaster Oven. Very well, then. Oh ho! I don't know why I said it like that. Oh, thank Turtle, assuming you're talking to me. What's going on? Fight! Fight! Fight!
No fighting! That was like super high pitch. No fighting!
You've got some guts. I like that in an opponent. That wasn't even a question. That's you wanna go! Aren't you supposed to ask, you wanna go? You're like, you wanna go. Go where? Where are you guys going? Why did the real killer sound the emergency buzzer? Because he's a butthole. The killer knew that if they pressed that button, a guard would come running. And that was exactly what they wanted. Do you mean to say the killer called the guard on purpose? Yes, although as it turned out, he never showed up.
Because he was getting his clock cleaned at the time.
What a touching story. You're saying the killer had a change of heart and called the guard to turn himself in?
Oh my god, it's not that difficult to understand, Godot. Really?
No, I'm not. When that buzzer sounded, there were 3 people in that office.
That's what I've been saying.
The victim, Kane Bullard, who was already dead. The defendant, Ron Delight, who was out cold. And the third person, the real killer, whose shadow that does not look like anyone we've encountered. Not at all. Hypothetically, yes. Now then, in this situation, if the real killer made an escape, what would happen? The only one left in the room would be the victim and Ron Delight. And if any security guards came running in at that time, they would think that I was the murderer.
See?
Yes, that was precisely the real killer's objective. To frame Ron Delight for the murder.
Gotta say what?
What do you gotta say? Oh, pfft.
Wow! Takes me back in the day, Kane and the Undertaker.
Order! 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 It would seem I've been made to eat my words once again.
Actually, you've been made to do a spit take with a cup of coffee.
Mr. Wright, who was it? Who was it that tried to frame me? Wait a second. I'm the one and only Master Mask, so...
Nick, you mean the real killer is...
We're going to drag that person in here right now.
But who is it?
I don't have any solid proof yet, but think about it. The killer knew Mr. Delight's identity, and they also knew that he had been called to KB security that night. So the killer used him to execute a well-crafted plan to murder Kane Bullard. Now then, let's hear your accusation, Mr. Wright. Who was it that framed Mr. Ron Delight for the murder of Kane Bullard? Clearly it was Pearl.
Take that!
Detective Luke Atme. He's the only one who could have done it. Ace Detective? Luke Atme? You mean Master Mask did it? Your Honor, the person being tried in the court next to us is not Mask to Mask at all. He is, in actuality, the true murderer of Kane Bullard. Order! Order! Mr. Wright, explain yourself! Theft and murder. Which is the more serious crime?
What?
They're not even close. Murder is the more serious crime, of course. It's a capital crime subject to capital punishment. Please remember the trial from yesterday, if you would. When Luke Atme confessed, there was a huge commotion in the courtroom. Sorry, Derp. Of course, a famous detective was unmasked as well. as Master Mask. Instead of being convicted of murder, he was found guilty of grand larceny. That was his true objective all along. To be found guilty? Master Mask had the perfect alibi for when the murder took place. He was stealing the urn at Lordly Taylor. In other words, being found guilty as Master Mask was Luke Atmy's airtight, watertight, and unassailable alibi. A guilty verdict? As an alibi? Holy shit, I almost knocked over my water. You know, it's almost time. For what? For Luke Atmy's verdict. It was a pretty simple trial, after all. If we're going to stop this trial and stall that one, we need to do it now. Of course, that's assuming you have proof that the detective was the one who committed the murder. Mr. Luke Atmy's trial has indeed attracted the attention of the entire country. If we were to intrude and fail to prove adequate proof of his true crime, Mr. Delight would be left with no grounds for appeal. Am I really sure about this? Ha! A bet's only good when your life's the ante word. Mr. Wright, I believe in you!
I won't have my watertight alibi.
Mr. Delight. So please, I'm begging you! Thanks, but my decision will determine the rest of your life. Can I really risk your life like this?
Phoenix.
What was that?
Don't stray, Phoenix. For your client, take the path of trust.
That voice. It sounded like... Mia!
He's shocked every time. It's literally happened 3 years in a row. He's still like...
Your Honor, the defense requests an immediate recess. So that's your answer, huh? Very well. I've decided as well. This court will now take a 20-minute recess. Mr. Wright, when we return, please summon Mr. Luke Atmy to the stand. Yes, Your Honor. Oh my god.
Well, Sir Detective Atmy. Of course they put pain on this one. Oh my god, we're gonna make him lose this.
I have to say, Mr. Payne, you performed splendidly.
Oh no, Sir Detective Atmy, you were the one who...
That's enough. This court sees no reason to further prolong this trial. This court finds the defendant, Luke Atmy...
Hold it!
Just ruining... Payne is gonna... Oh my god, Payne is gonna die. He's gonna be so pissed. Like, really? Don't hand down your verdict yet, please.
Well, well, Sir Lawyer, welcome to my courtroom.
Who's this hoser, eh? My name's Phoenix Wright, attorney at law, and I wish to file an accusation against this man. Sorry, I think he said Luke Atmy.
Accusation? You accuse Master Mask?
That man is not Mask to Mask. He's just a ruthless murderer. What?
Yeah, I'm actually, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but from what I remember of the series, I think that judge is actually confirmed to be Canadian. I think. Isn't he? Anyone else want to help me? But pretty sure. That's why I said A that way. A? My sis?
I could have sworn I heard Mia's voice.
So then she's still alive. Inside your heart. Mickey boy!
Oh, Miss Delight.
Is it true that Detective is the real killer?
To be honest, we don't have any definite proof.
Yeah, he's Canadian. There we go. Skyline's helping me out too. Thanks, Skyline. Surprise! Actually Canadian.
Must be from the more northern parts. But he's the only one who could have done it.
But wasn't he at Lordly Taylor that night? Not to mention, we don't exactly know his motive.
You do get Meow Mix. You get all the Meow Mix.
Canada.
I mean, why would Detective Atme want to kill Kane Bullard?
Oops, it's almost time. Better get back to the courtroom. I need to find some solid proof. And it's gotta happen sooner rather than later.
Alright, we're on the last part of this trial now. Sorry, nomming on seaweed. It's keeping me awake. I was falling asleep a little bit earlier.
Now then, this court is back in session. Mr. Luke Atme, please take the stand.
How pissed are you, bruh?
Well, how do you do, Sir Lawyer? I never would have thought to see you acting so recklessly. I couldn't let them hand down your verdict just yet. Not when it would have given you your perfect alibi. An alibi by the name of Mask to Mask.
Nomming. Which is essentially chewing. Yeah, I think this is the second. I mean, if we're counting the tutorial. Yeah, if we're counting the tutorial, this is the second one. Look away and come back to giant eyeball.
I'm sorry, I'm afraid even the great Luke Atme has no idea what you mean. Of course, I have been in the next courtroom ever since 10 o'clock this morning. I'm afraid there's no way I could have known what's been going on in here. You've been in the defendant's seat all day long, correct? Being tried as Mask to Mask. Indeed. It's truly child's play to fool the ignorant masses. Not only did the poor fools ask me to protect their valuables, they even gave me a generous reward upon returning their own property to them. Take this red diamond ring that sparkles upon my divine finger, for example. So you continue to insist that you are, in fact, Mask to Mask? Of course! Very well then, Luke Atme, let us begin with this simple question. On October 12th at 1 a.m., Kane Bullard was murdered. Where were you at the time? One without knowledge lacks even the knowledge that he should be ashamed of himself. But don't worry, I'll not hold it against you, Sir Judge. Thanks. Alright, Mr. Atme. The night of the murder. Speak. We're listening. As you wish, Sir Prosecutor.
Time to catch him in his lies.
I was stealing the urn as Mask to Mask, just as I announced I would. I had more than enough time to prepare. It was a pathetically easy job. A photograph contains no words, but in this case, one turned out to be my witness. The time at which the camera captured Mask to Mask was the same time as the murder. It seems the main point of discussion will be this photo of the crime scene. Everything else up until now was all part of his plan. There has to be a secret to this picture as well. Even the great Mask to Mask cannot be in two places at once. Now then, if you'll excuse me, I have a verdict to receive. Unfortunately, Mr. Atme, we still have to do your cross-examination. A fool is too foolish to know that he is a fool. Okay, Von Karma, back up.
I think he's trying to say that you're full of it, Nick.
The only thing that's full of it is his alibi.
Path photography. Shouldn't it be every time I do it makes me laugh? Look at this graph.
I believe Adrian Andrews hired you at one point? That's right. That was over 20 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. You sent the calling card to Lord Lee Taylor 10 days before the heist. That would mean you sent out the card after you began your security watch, right? Indeed, there was no reason why I couldn't do both jobs at once. It was the perfect opportunity to steal my latest target. I see. You truly are evil, aren't you? Yes, evil is what I am.
Hey Nick, isn't there something odd about this?
Hmm?
Detective Atme was always proud of his ace detective skills, right? But if the urn was stolen from Lord Lee Taylor while he was the only one watching it... he'd have no way to maintain his perfect ace detective persona.
You know, that's true. It is kind of odd. Graph!
Thanks, Neil.
About the camera that took this photograph. Oh, come now. It's all too clear what you're thinking. Huh? You think I altered the timestamp on the photograph, don't you? I'm afraid that's impossible. The camera was set up by Lord Lee Taylor, and on top of that, it was Lord Lee Taylor's staff that printed that picture's data. Unfortunately for the defense, there's no way that picture could have been altered. I see. Looks like I'd better find something else that could be suspicious.
So this alibi is false?
It has to be, or he couldn't have killed Mr. Bullard at KB Security.
But I'm not really spotting anything unusual.
There are two possibilities. Either the master mask in the photo is a fake, or the photo itself is. Oh, don't. So by photograph, you mean this piece of evidence here, is that correct? Indeed it is. That is it. The very thing that proves I committed the crime. The very thing that proves you committed the crime. Surely even you understand by now. Lord Lee Taylor provided that camera. There's no way I could have tampered with it. That means I could not have killed Kane Bullard unless I had an accomplice. Come on, think long and hard about that night. The basement warehouse, and this picture that supposedly captures it. It's gotta be here. Isn't there something funny about this picture? Isn't there? Are you implying that this picture's a fake? You bet I am. There's definitely something strange about this picture. We took a look around the basement warehouse that night before the theft took place, and there's something in this photo that doesn't match my memory of that night. Very well then, let's hear what you have to say. Well, blah blah. What about this photograph do you find funny?
Paint is pretty funny.
The funny part is right here. Why, this is a blood stain! Oh, blood! Now this case is getting interesting! Not exactly. This stain is actually pink paint. If you were in the Danganronpa universe, though, Judge, you'd be right. Oh, just paint, and peach-colored at that. From blood to peaches, the Judge sure loves going on his wild tangents.
Sniffles go next? Yes, they go next. They're not around anymore. You say the best things, so then, like, when I read it out loud, I'm like, what? Sniffles go next? That's really cute. Yeah, no sniffles for me right now.
The problem with this photograph is not the paint.
I love your autocorrect tab. So many laughs. It sounds so cute. Like, sniffles go next? Like, I'm sorry, Al. You're probably kicking things right now, but it's just really cute. No, I just had some snifflies. Wasn't really sick. I'm sure we love you too, Ab.
The problem with this photograph is not the paint. The problem is, I hate when I'm trying to be serious and I keep laughing through these things. The problem is, when you consider the layout of the basement warehouse, it turns out that something that should be there is nowhere to be seen. Well, Mr. Wright? What is supposed to be in this picture instead of the paint stains? The supervisor of the treasure exhibit stated the following.
Well, there's a good reason for that. On the day of the crime, around noon, that golden statue just happened to arrive from the mountain training hall. I realized that the statue would be the perfect size for covering up the paint stains. That's why I put it where you first saw it.
I myself was there the night that theft took place and saw the statue in that spot. If this picture was truly taken on that night, then that statue should have been there.
Objection!
But when I went there the day after the theft, that statue with the old bag was sitting in the corner. Perhaps it was somehow pushed there accidentally? Your Honor, this statue is slightly larger than yourself and quite heavy. It would take more than an accidental push to move it that distance. Huh. In that case, can you prove it? Can you give us the rhyme and reason as to why the statue was moved that night?
Can you do it, Nick?
Never mind who moved it. The real question is, why did they move it? Well, Mr. Wright, I hope you're prepared with your answer. Now then, who was the one that moved the golden statue on the night of the crime? The one who moved the statue is none other than Luke Atme. Come now, Sir Lawyer. There you go again on one of your strange delusions. Mr. Wright, what basis do you have for your strange delusions? It's very simple. The witness was the only one in the basement warehouse that night. That is indeed very simple. However, why would I want to move a heavy golden statue? The reason for moving the golden statue. Here's where our battle really begins. Well, Mr. Wright, what reason did the witness have to move that statue? The reason can be found here in this photograph. Look at me. You pretended to be Mask to Mask, to create an alibi by showing you were at Lord Lee Taylor that night. But this photograph contains a single fatal flaw. If the statue had been there, your lie would be exposed like cheap film at a drugstore. That's why you moved the statue. A single fatal flaw?
You think of Psyduck? Payduck, his brother. He's kind of a jerk. He always wants money. He's always mooching off of you.
Interesting theory. Please enlighten us. Just where in this picture does this lie exist? Naturally, the lie in this photo is the timestamp. What do you mean? I'll tell you exactly what I mean. On the night in question, Luke Atme went to KB Security and murdered Kane Bullard. Therefore, it's obvious. It would have been impossible for him to have been at Lordly Taylor at this time. But what does that have to do with the statue being moved? Remember, if you will, Your Honor. When was this statue placed beside the warehouse door? Well, the statue was taken down to the warehouse on the day of the crime, and it was placed there in order to cover up the paint. Exactly. Luke Atme had already decided on the time when he was going to kill the victim, and so, in order to create an alibi for that time, he took this picture days before the murder took place. What the? Of course, the statue hadn't yet been brought down to the basement warehouse yet. Ah. So, on the day of the crime, Mr. Atme must have been quite nervous. As nervous as a long-tailed cat in a rocking chair factory, so to speak. Why? Because something that wasn't supposed to be there had been brought down and placed where it wasn't supposed to be. And that is why Luke Atme had to move the statue on the night of the murder. He did it to make the room match the way it had been in his photo. Gwa! Quick gwa. Order! Order! Mr. Atme, is this true? One moment, Your Honor. Have you forgotten this? What's that? The data for the basement warehouse computer.
Oh, Ab. Oh no.
According to this, the camera did indeed go off on the night of the crime.
I know the reference, it's okay.
It's true that the camera had been set up by the Lordly Taylor staff. However, the program used to manage that data was yours. That alone would have allowed you to tamper with the data. Ah! Order! Order! Mr. Godot, what is the meaning of this? Godot, I warned you about making me wait. Now put that coffee down. My 11th cup. I've promised to drink no more than 17 during a trial, which means I'm still good till the last drop. However, the defense has a very good point. A good point? So what? We are all but travelers on a road of infinite points.
I think you got your points mixed up with your other points.
So you say this photograph was taken ahead of time, and that the statue was moved in order to make it match. That's a very interesting idea, however, there's one point that can't be denied. Which is... that it's only a possibility. Men that are trapped by the chains of maybe can never reach their dreams. That's very true. No way, don't fall for that, Your Honor. Hey, Mr. Damask. Yes? If there's no funny business in your actions as Master Mask, there should be no problem with you telling us your strategy. So let's hear it. Yes, please provide this court with your testimony about your plan to steal the sacred urn. I first received the request from Lordly Taylor about 20 days ago. The urn was placed in a box in Safari. It was then sent to the warehouse. Hence, I was actually unable to see the urn for myself until the day of the crime. I knew it was an extremely valuable treasure, so I sent my card 10 days beforehand. I then handled security by myself to ensure that my crime would go smoothly. At last, I held the urn in my hands for the first time at 1 a.m. on October 12th.
That's pretty much all stuff we've heard before, isn't it?
Yeah, but we'll find the truth hidden in the nuggets of new information he gave. Witness, you're sure there are no mistakes this time? Svari. Very well then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
Objection!
Mr. Atme, if you really are Mask to Mask, then you also wrote this calling card, correct? But of course. Is there a problem with that calling card? Allow me to read a passage from the calling card that Mask to Mask had written. Take good care of the speckled urn. Now the speckled here surely refers to this pink pattern on the sacred urn. Yes, that's true. But so what? Truth be told, there's no way that Mask to Mask could have known about this pattern. What do you mean? This pink spotted pattern on the urn is actually nothing more than paint stains. Paint stains? And these stains did not appear until after the urn had been taken to Lordly Taylor. I'm not finding this joke to be very funny, Mr. Trent. The day that the sacred urn was taken to the warehouse, the urn was broken due to human error, or should I say, an error-prone human. And that's when the pink paint got on the urn. You can't be serious. And yet this calling card clearly mentions the paint pattern. Which means Detective Atme had seen this urn long before the crime ever took place. In fact, he saw it when this fake photo was taken. And because this photo is a fake, your alibi for the night of the murder no longer holds water. Wah, 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 wah. Well? Witness, do you have anything to say for yourself?
What do you mean, what was up earlier? Well, Atme was in a separate trial, right? He was being tried for being Mask to Mask next door. So we went over next door to there where he was being tried. And they stopped the trial. That's what that was. No worries.
Alright, that did it. He's broken.
Nick, I think it's still a little early for a victory pose.
Huh? Huh. It's so sad. No one has any conviction these days. Conviction, you say? Yesterday, we all decided unanimously that this man was Mask to Mask, and now we're calling him a murderer. You don't think we're being a tad fickle? That's a good point. No way! Don't fall for that too, Your Honor. You say that Luke Atme was the one who killed Kane Bullard. Then let me ask you this. Why would he do that? An excellent point. Motive, Mr. Wright, motive. Might you my merry murderous motive manifest?
Nick, he's getting his second wind! Oh, no worries. Gas. Gas, gas, gas.
If he prepared an alibi and pinned his crime on Ron DeLite, as you say, he must have had a very strong motive for murder. The only one with any motive we've seen is Ron DeLite. Isn't that right, Detective? Indeed, according to my own research, the boy's motive is clear. Without a motive, it's nearly impossible to prove guilt in a murder case. Now then, maybe you can enlighten us to what the defendant's motives were. Thank you, Sir Old-Timer. They're doing everything they can to make Ron look suspicious. Despite our lack of hard information, this may be our only chance. I, Luke Atme, had no points of contact with the victim whatsoever. Kane Bullard decided to investigate Mask to Mask and simply mistook who he was. It was Mr. Bullard who wrote the blackmail letter and sent it to Ron DeLite. And it was again Mr. Bullard who harbored a grudge against Mr. DeLite for his betrayal. Mr. Bullard's mistake is quite excusable. The defendant truly believes he is Mask to Mask. That is why Mr. Delight saw it fit to kill Kane Bullard. Truly a tragedy. So the victim, Kane Bullard, blackmailed the defendant? This is the blackmail letter found in the defendant's apartment. A handwriting test confirms that Mr. Bullard was indeed the one who wrote the letter. What? Very well, Mr. Wright. Begin your cross-examination.
Objection!
Mind if I ask you a few questions, Detective Atme? Well, if it's just a few, I guess it's all right. When you said that this letter was addressed to Ron Delight, I couldn't help but notice one major contradiction. Contradiction? I don't know where a walking contradiction like you gets off saying things like that. You're one to talk. At times like these, men are made to express themselves with their fists. Why don't you show us what you've got there, Junior? Indeed, time to man up, Mr. Wright. Show us the contradicting evidence in the content of the blackmail letter.
Take that!
Take a good look at this newspaper clipping. It contains a picture of the Tear of Emanon, the stolen jewel. What about it? The problem is this jewel's color. Color? I'm not much for discussing color myself. According to the clipping, the color of the stolen jewel was blue. However, in the blackmail letter, a totally different jewel is mentioned. I'll take that red diamond you received the other day. Red? Which means, the red diamond described in the blackmail letter is not the Tear of Emanon that Master Mask stole at all.
Objection!
Terrible, Zach. Terrible. How could you?
And your point is, Mr. Trite? So you're trying to say that this blackmail letter was intended for someone else? That's right. That's what you're trying to say, right, Trite? That is what you're trying to say, right, Mr. Wright?
Well, that is what you're trying to say, right, Nick?
Yes. This is who Kane Bullard was actually blackmailing.
Take that!
Naturally, it was you, Detective Atme. Do you have some sort of basis for that claim? You've been personally involved in every single Master Mask case. And in the last case, you recovered what was stolen, and received a jewel as your reward. A jewel? Probably the one wrapped conspicuously around your finger. That red diamond ring. That's the diamond referred to in the letter. Which means that Kane Bullard wrote that letter in order to blackmail you.
Objection!
It seems you've gone too far with your childish pranks, Mr. Trite. Uh-oh. I don't like the way he said that. Kane Bullard blackmailing Luke Atme? Are you for real? Yes, I am.
Nick, come on, stand up to him.
Then answer me this. The blackmail letter contains the following passage. If you don't want your identity revealed to the world. Yes, it certainly does. Kane Bullard threatened to make Luke Atme's identity public knowledge. An identity he wanted to keep a secret. So just what was that identity? killed Kane Bullard because he was afraid of his secret becoming unknown. Becoming known, goddammit. Becoming unknown. What was the identity he wanted to keep secret?
This is what it all comes down to, Nick.
The identity that Luke Atme wanted to so desperately keep secret was his identity as... Luke Atme was a blackmailer.
Objection!
Hey now, isn't that a little different from what you've been saying? You said that Kane Bullard was the one blackmailing Luke Atme. Are you saying that Atme was blackmailing someone else on top of that?
You have to admit, that does sound a little odd.
It's not odd. It's the only thing that makes any sense. Kane Bullard was blackmailing Luke Atme. But Ron Delight was also being blackmailed by a certain someone. So, did you start to receive blackmail letters starting after this incident? Yes, just a few days after the Tear of Eminon heist. After that, I started getting the plans in the mail. I received plans from some very kind person. Incredibly detailed plans. Detailed plans? In which case, that would mean that Ron Delight was actually Master Mask. That is what we are claiming. Someone else came up with the plans and had Mr. Delight steal his targets for him. And that someone was none other than Luke Atme. Shh! Silence! Now I see, it's all becoming clear. What is? When you were in grade school, you received the same report card every year. Careless with the tendency to jump to conclusions. Am I wrong? How did you... You say that I, Luke Atme, was blackmailing Ron Delight? In which case, I would naturally know all about his relation to Mask. Well, yes. Ron Delight started receiving plans from his second crime onward, correct? Which means I learned of his identity when he committed the first crime. Good point. You certainly couldn't have blackmailed him otherwise. In that case, let's see some hot, bitter evidence. During the first crime, how did Luke Atme know that Ron Delight was Master Mask?
Take that!
I think I see it. See what? When you were in grade school, you received the same report card every year. Gets into lots of mischief trying to be the center of attention. What do you mean? This newspaper clipping. I love when Phoenix wrecks people. It has a picture of you and Ron Delight in his guard uniform. It seems that Mask to Mask didn't just appear into thin air. He just took off his outfit, or he didn't disappear, I think, and hid it in a bucket. That sounds far too stupid to be true. Correct. With tricks like that, he couldn't fool a baby, let alone an ace detective. And that's when you figured it out, Mr. Atme. That's when you learned that under his mask, Mask to Mask was really Ron Delight. What the? Wasn't he supposed to be Mask to Mask?
Not only that, it looks like he wasn't even an ace detective.
I can't believe it. He was just a slimy blackmailer.
What a fraud! Trying to pass himself off as an ace detective.
Why, you! How dare you expose me like that? Why, I mean, I've never blackmailed anyone in my life. I'm a famous and proud ace detective and also Mask to Mask. Why can't you understand that? I'm afraid you're neither a proud thief nor an ace detective. You're a blackmailer and a murderer. That is your true identity. Why, you... How dare you even Oh, I can't read it. It's going too fast. Why not try to do something yourselves with your big mouth of yours? You're all fools. I say none of you can compare to my genius. So gone doesn't hurt me. Cannot handle blackmail murder. It's enough to make one laugh.
Yeah, it was too quick. You're too quick at me. I can't do it.
It would seem we've finally gotten to the real answer.
That was quite a performance by Mr. Atme. Machine gun talk battle, go!
Bailiff, please prepare a cell for Mr. Atme.
Objection!
Thanks, I didn't read half of it, but you know.
Just kind of stammered around in this voice.
Half of it was me just doing his voice going,
I don't know what it's saying. It's going too fast.
like, I don't know. But thank you.
The hammer that strikes too fast has no time to aim. What do you mean? I'm already prepared to deliver my sentence. Allow me to say one thing. I will be the one to judge.
No, I'm pretty sure it's the judge's job. You don't get much more in your face than that.
It appears that your claws weren't quite sharp enough, Mr. Trite.
Thanks, F.
Where do you... It's true that you've proven a lot of things. Things like Luke Atme was a filthy blackmailer. And that he wasn't at Lordly Taylor the night of the murder. That's right. That's why he's the one who killed Mr. Bull. But... there's still one thing you have yet to prove. What's that? Just because he wasn't at the warehouse doesn't mean he was at the murder scene. Therefore, if you can't prove that this pitiful excuse for a man was at KB security, then I don't see how a verdict can be delivered. No. No way! Order! Order in the court! Well, Mr. Wright? This is it. This is the final round. I've got to prove that Atme was at Mr. Bullard's office on that night.
But, can you really prove that?
That's long enough, Mr. Trite. I want to hear your answer.
Thank you.
That night, Luke Atme was at KB security, and the defense... can be a butt. I can't prove it. Just as I thought.
What the heck? Why would you say that? You guys are mean. I'm not talking to you anymore.
But if we hear more of Detective Atme's testimony...
Objection!
Unfortunately, that's as far as you go, Mr. Trite. What do you mean? I won't allow for any more testimony. That's what I mean. What? Have you forgotten? Luke Atme is here after we interrupted his own trial, and you have failed to prove that he committed the murder. I think it's time for this witness to return to his own trial, and face his guilty verdict as mask to mask. No.
Well now, Sir Lawyer, it seems that love wins out in the end after all. Gourmet? I have the ace detective as well as mask to mask. My verdict will verify that. Just as Rhonda Lights will verify that he's the true murderer. I declare that with the full force of my ace detectiveness. I read that as ace detective ass.
Order! Order in the court! That's enough deliberation over this witness. I can't believe this. At this rate, Ron is...
Don't give up now, Nick. We still have tomorrow. We can look for more evidence and...
By then, it'll be too late.
Huh? Why?
Double jeopardy. One of the basic rules of any court of law.
Double jeopardy?
Should a defendant be tried and found innocent in court, that defendant cannot be tried again for the same crime. This is a fundamental rule of all courts, and it applies to this witness as much as it applies to anyone else. Mr. Atme will be found guilty in a matter of minutes. Guilty as mask to mask, which means he'll be innocent as far as the murder of Kane Bullard is concerned.
No way!
The fact that you were unable to prove Mr. Atme's guilt of that crime here means that he'll never again be tried as Kane Bullard's murderer.
Wah! Why ooh-ah, Phoenix? Is that really...
Now there's nothing I can possibly do to win. Even if Ron is proclaimed to be innocent, the real killer, Luke Atme, will go free. have cross-examined every statement the witness has made here today, and as long as there's no more testimony, I'm afraid I have to declare that there will be no further questioning of this witness. Are there any objections?
Come on, Phoenix. One last time, Phoenix.
That I hereby end the cross-examination of Luke at me.
Objection!
I think I see it.
Your Honor, when...
This is the typo I was talking about! Read the screen. I'm gonna let you read the screen. Just read it. Read it and then I'll say it out. Read that typo. Your Honor, when you were a child, what the fuck? This is what was on your report card every year. Has poor hearing and often makes mistakes as a result.
How did you...
Phoenix, raise your head up high. Oh my god, the first time I discovered that typo, I died. But here I am, so it's okay. Judge, you got some splaining to do. Have you forgotten what I used to tell you? A lawyer is someone who smiles no matter how bad it gets.
That voice! No way!
Every time, Phoenix, every time. Long time no see, Phoenix.
Mia! This is the true power of the Korean channeling technique. I know that it's really Maya who's standing before me, but right now she's my mentor, Mia Fey.
Now, let's do this.
But there's nothing more we can do, Mia. Without any more testimony, I can't cross-examine.
Not yet. The testimony's not over yet.
What do you mean?
Your Honor, just now you said something very interesting. You have cross-examined every statement the witness has made here today.
Yes, that's true, but...
Unfortunately, Your Honor, you're forgetting something. Earlier, after the last cross-examination, this witness made a number of remarks.
Well now, Sir Lawyer, it seems that love wins out in the end after all. I'm the ace detective as well as Master Mask. My verdict will verify that. Just as Ron Delights will verify that he is the true murderer. I declare that with the full force of my ace detectiveness. Yes, but these comments appear to have no importance whatsoever.
Very well, then we shall prove their importance via cross-examination. At any rate, as long as the witness has made these remarks, we, the defense, assert our right to question them. Is that all right with you, prosecutor?
Is something the matter? Mr. Godot? Nothing. Oh, Sir Lawyer, it looks like you're one step too late. If you think such falsehoods will do anything to me, look at... Let's hear it. Huh? It's true that the witness made some remarks. So then, let's hear this last bit of cross-examination. Mr. Godot, what are you... Very well then, look at me. I'll allow the defense to cross-examine your earlier remarks.
The defense would like to hear why you declare the defendant to be the true murderer.
So please, give us one last bit of testimony.
He's gonna F up so bad. Phoenix, this is it. This is our absolute last chance.
Yes, Chief. Indeed, it is true that I was not at Lordly Taylor. I had to leave to see about another vitally important job request. I had known about the date beforehand, so I had this photograph ready. My brilliant deduction was what informed me that the true culprit was Ron Delight. And thanks to the keycard and wallet, it was abundantly clear that he was there. I was also able to make a deduction from the buzzer, which only sounded once. The button did not have any fingerprints on it. Why? The victim would have left prints if he sounded it, which means the killer sounded it. Mr. Delight was wearing his mask-to-mask outfit, which is why he left no prints. And the blackmail letter? The victim likely just mistook the color of the jewel. Zvari! Therefore, all the evidence points to that poor boy.
Mm-hmm.
This testimony actually seems to hold up pretty well. The witness's earlier remarks do not appear to have been hastily prepared. All of his points have been explained, and none of them seem to contradict anything.
Did anyone notice how he messed up?
But of course. But how did you know about the emergency buzzer? The police investigation documents went directly through me, and I always look over all the documents. It's elementary, Sir Lawyer. Are you going to make even more trouble for us now, Sir Lawyer? I'll not allow any of your usual shenanigans, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. We cannot postpone Luke Atmey's trial any longer. This is your last chance. Hang on a sec. Just one chance? It seems that the party's about to begin.
Well, Phoenix,
There isn't any evidence that contradicts with the testimony.
so it would seem.
What do you mean, so it would seem?
Listen, Phoenix, pointing out contradictions doesn't always mean you have to present evidence, does it? At any rate, this is our last chance. If you can't point out a case-breaking contradiction, you lose. That's all there is to it.
Cup number 17, the last cup. It seems like the time has come to put an end to this trial.
You can do it, Phoenix.
I have to find a fatal contradiction in this testimony, and I need to point it out without presenting evidence. Which means all I can do is find the contradictory remark and press it.
Remember, you only get one chance.
Very well then, Mr. Wright. Please begin your final cross-examination.
Aw, thank you, Skyline. I guess nobody else has guessed it either, or maybe you have, and you're just not writing about it yet. Ready to reveal his fatal error?
Mr. Atmey, about this last remark.
Objection!
You still don't get it, do you, Trite? This isn't the time to be pressing the witness on every little statement. I'm afraid you're the one who still doesn't get it, Mr. Godot. What? Mr. Atmey, it seems you finally admitted that you were in the CEO's office on the night of the murder. How can you say that? Let's review your testimony, shall we, Mr. Atmey? The button did not have any fingerprints on it. Why? Mr. Delight was wearing his mask-to-mask outfit. Is that correct? Indeed, that's what I said. My deductions are absolutely foolproof. More like your deductions prove that you're a fool. Damn! Slam jammed. I'm sorry, whatever do you mean? For some reason, I'm starting to get really thirsty. When exactly did we learn the fact that Ron Delight was dressed as mask-to-mask when he went to the scene of the crime? That was, it was just a few hours ago. Back when my sixth cup was looking at me with a cold stare. Huh? Oh, did I forget to mention it before? I'm sorry, I just never had a chance to mention it up until now. That's right. The defendant had yet to tell anyone else this fact before this morning. Therefore, the only people who should know this are those who have been watching this trial. Do you understand now, Detective Atmey? There's no way that you should have known about that. Aya, like the food place? You were in the next courtroom being tried as mask-to-mask, So then, enlighten us. Just how did you know about that piece of information? Well,
Objection.
come on, this detective must have known about it. He probably had plenty of chances to find out beforehand.
Objection.
Yep, exactly. Exactly, Skyland.
And it's those chances that I want to discuss next. That night, Mr. Delight was wearing his mask-to-mask outfit. There is one and only one way for Detective Atme to have found that out. Only one way, you say? Please remember, if you will, Mr. Delight's testimony. There's a lot of voices there. When I entered the office, there was a suspicious shadow there. For a second, my client witnessed the real killer.
Objection.
But Mr. Delight never saw him. There's no way to tell whether or not the real killer was Luke Atme.
Are you serious, Godot? He just revealed it.
It's with that statement that I'll turn this case on its head. Just what are you implying? Mr. Delight saw the real killer, correct? Now if you turn that statement around, it stands to follow that the real killer had also seen Ron Delight. Impossible.
Ta-da! Guess who? Like we didn't know.
Detective Atme, you saw Mask to Mask at the murder scene that night. You saw him when you killed Kane Bullard and assaulted Ron Delight. That was the only way you could have known what Ron was wearing.
Ooh, whoa. Earthquake. Don't call edgy.
Oh. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Take a good look, everyone. Unable to find a rival worthy of my genius, I was forced to create one by myself. Here I am, the tragic clown. That's the same line you gave yesterday.
Thanks, Judge.
But I think there's a little more meaning behind it this time.
He's blasting off. He's preparing for launch.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we have liftoff. There goes Atme. What an awfully complicated incident. Kane Bullard was blackmailing Luke Atme, who was in turn blackmailing Ron Delight. And upon killing his blackmailer, Luke Atme tried to frame Ron Delight. He then claimed to be guilty as Mask to Mask in order to escape his true crime. And to that end, he came up with this plan. To use the double jeopardy rule when making his alibi. At any rate, it would seem we finally found the truth.
Excuse me.
I came perilously close to besmirching the record of an innocent young man again. Besmirching him with the title of murderer. Don't ignore me! Oh, I didn't realize you were there. Why wouldn't he be? About the verdict. I know. You never committed any murder. That's right. I'm so glad you understand that, but I really am Master Mask! Oh? So, thanks to that trial yesterday, I'm innocent now, right? What was it you said? Double jeopardy? Now that you mention it, I've been careless. Careless? What do you think, Mia?
As the defendant says, the rule of double jeopardy is absolute. A defendant can never be tried twice for a crime in which he was once found innocent.
Then, Mask to Mask is really innocent?
For now. It would seem so.
For now. Now then, this court finds the defendant...
Look at that, Ab, you got your wish. He's free. Because of the whole double... God damn it. The whole double jeopardy.
Boy, this is really lucky. Wait, that isn't so good after all. You see, the thing is, I still am Master Mask after all.
Yep, he's free because he can't be tried. Remember, he was found innocent on the grand larceny charge, so he can't be charged again. That's double jeopardy. So he's free. You did it, Nick.
Thanks, Mia. It's been a long time, hasn't it? Double jeopardy.
Yeah, it's because Maya doesn't call on me much these days.
Oh?
I'm just joking, Phoenix. Don't take everything so seriously. But on the other hand, Maya, she seems kinda lost these days.
You mean about becoming the master at the Korean channeling school?
Becoming the master means saying goodbye to our mother.
You mean Misty Faye?
Watch over her, will you, Phoenix?
Of course.
Well then, see you around.
I love that everyone's saying it now.
Mia.
Ah! Mr. Wright! I don't know what to say.
You know, Ron kind of reminds me of Chihiro Fujisaki a little bit. I think it's just, you know, certain things. We're not going to mention what things, but just reminds me of.
Congratulations, Mr. Delight.
Thank you so much.
No, wait. Nothing really matters anymore, though, now that...
Come on, just be happy already. Or I guess it's Ron's personality. That reminds me a little bit.
Maya.
You've been cleared of the murder charges and got off as Master Mask to boot.
But in exchange, I lost everything.
Huh? What do you mean?
Stealing security information from KB Security, becoming Mask to Mask. I did it all for one reason. For her. You mean your wife, Desiree? She hates criminals more than anything. Come to think of it, she was once held hostage by some robbers, wasn't she? She always said how she hated sneaky criminals. I knew that, but once I got fired from KB Security and lost all the money I had, she wouldn't have any reason to stay with me. I thought she would leave me for sure. So that's why you became Mask to Mask? Yes, but it's all over now. A broken bowl can never be put back together.
That's not true, right, Nick?
Right. Really? Can we go back to the way things were?
You'll be fine, and Nick can prove it.
I can? I kinda wish you would check with me first. Mr. Delight, even if a bowl is broken, there's always a way to put it back together. Like this sword.
Take that!
The sacred urn. Desi was the one who found this. Desiree, your wife. She's always believed in you, Ron. That's why you'll be fine. You don't have to worry about anything.
Ah, there you are!
Miss Delight.
You did it, Ronnie! You're innocent! I'm so happy!
Thank you. I appreciate that, but, I suppose you don't want anything more to do with me, do you?
Ronnie, why don't you talk to me about what was going on? I had no idea you'd quit KB Security. I never imagined that you were really Master Mask either. Miss Delight, what are you going to do now that you know? You're not going to really leave him, are you? Come on, it's obvious, isn't it? How could I ever let a wonderful man like him get away? After all, my bike's really fast. So fast that there's no way he could ever get away.
But didn't you say that you hated criminals?
Oh, I only hate people who act all cowardly and sneaky. Like that detective.
I see.
My Ronnie went and declared his crimes before he committed them like a man. I just love a man who's so chivalrous. Chivalrous? I knew I was right about you. Every day I spend with you is filled with thrills and excitement.
Desiree, you really do love Ron, don't you?
Nicky boy,
Yes?
I'm really glad I asked you to defend my Ronnie. Thank you so much. I'll never forget what you've done for us.
Oh, well, take care of yourself.
You too, Nicky boy.
I can feel my face going red.
Mr. Nick! Mystic Maya! Congratulations!
Uh-oh, Nick, Tone down the blushing. Talk about bad timing.
Mr. Nick, how could you? With another man's wife in front of Mystic Maya? I'll never forgive you, never, ever!
There he goes. So just as the case came to a close, so too did my consciousness. Ron said a broken bowl can never be put back together. But I know that's not true. I mean, just look. Here's a perfect example of one that was put back together even better than before.